Hi, this is davidji, and welcome to this week's Life Tools. This week we're going to explore the obstacles in our life and 5 ways for you to end suffering. How's that sound? So the ancient wisdom traditions talk about these things called the Kleshas, Kleshas. These are known as the 5 obstacles or the 5 poisons. But these are the 5 things that pretty much create suffering in our life. So you're wondering, like, why am I suffering? Why am I in pain? Why is my heart hurting? It's one of these 5 things. So the first one is our ego. We're confusing that we are not this divine entity. We're confusing we're this separate being spun off from the magnificence of all existence. And here we are, separate, alone, orphaned, and unable to feel the abundance, the magnificence of the entire universe. So that's number 1. So when you're feeling separate, remember, I'm not in the universe. The universe is in me. And there's that beautiful expression, Aham Brahmasmi. It's one of the ancient Mahavakyas, master sayings, Aham Brahmasmi. So that means I'm one with the universe, essentially. The second one is, and this is probably the biggest reason we suffer in our lives, is confusing permanence and impermanence. So impermanence is the stuff that we thought we would have, but it didn't. I was really, really happy, and then it stopped. I was feeling a certain way, and then I felt another way. I had this thing that I thought would last forever, but of course, it doesn't. So when we ask, like, well, then what's permanent? What's permanent? The universe is permanent. Never born, never died. We talk about it being billions and billions and billions of years old, but the reality is we are stardust that has blasted off from a supernova 4 billion years ago, and who knows, that perhaps has been flowing through the universe for billions of years before that. Even Einstein in the 50s said, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed. Actually, he said, it can only be changed. I like to use the word transform. But he said, it can only be changed from one form to another. So it's not that something new is ever being created, it's just morphing into the next thing. So we believe that even though we're intellectually aware that this item is impermanent, not permanent, we believe somehow it will be permanent. Right? A relationship, we think it'll go forever. A life, we think it'll go forever. Our connection to something, we think it'll go forever. That food you put in the fridge, you think it'll go forever. And then suddenly 2 days later, it's like, no, it didn't work. So we suddenly start to realize that there's only one thing that's permanent: spirit. It's flowing through you, it's flowing through me. It's flowing through every single leaf. It's flowing through the breeze. It's flowing through every giggle that you hear. It's flowing through every moment of sadness or euphoria. So we need to own it. We need to understand there is a part of you and me that is permanent, and that's our spirit. Another one of the ancient Mahavakyas is Ayam, atma, brahman. Ayam, A-Y-A-M, atma, brahman, which means my soul and the universal spirit are the same thing. So essentially, if my soul and the universal spirit are the same thing, and your soul and the universal spirit are the same thing, then my soul and your soul are eternal. And we're sealed in this flesh casing for the span of a lifetime, but the reality is there's something deeper, deeper still, that connects us to each other and to eternal existence. So the next time you're like holding on, and of course grieving is very, very important. When we do lose something, when we're suddenly like, I thought it would last forever, I thought it was permanent, but it's not. We need to be kind to ourselves and loving to ourselves and forgiving to ourselves, but we also need to start reminding ourselves, well, That was just a misconception that I had, that these things would be permanent. The third one, the third klesha, obstacle, poison, is attachment. So think of all the things you're attached to right now. Maybe you're attached to a belief system, a political thought, a person, a relationship, your favorite food, your choice of phone. You know, people will say like, oh, I'm an Android person. Oh, I'm an Apple person. You know, think of all the attachments, these little attachments that we have, attached to our health, attached to our youth, attached to our wellness, attached to this physical body, attached to our hair, our face, our beard, or not, or any of the things, you know, our car. That's why we hold on to. Think of all the things that you're sort of like clinging on to. These are the things that actually create suffering, because we know they're going to change, because change is the only constant in our entire existence. The flip side of attachment is number 4, aversion, another cause of suffering. All the stuff we're like, nope, 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 nope. That's not me. I don't like that. I don't want to be there. I don't eat that food. I don't go to that place. I don't like that person. So think of this, our ego, permanence and impermanence, attachment and aversion. So how do we overcome aversion? We lean into the thing that we may be afraid of. We lean into the thing that maybe we don't like. Maybe we'll have a new perspective on it. Maybe we try a food that we said, no, I would never eat that. There was this time where I was at a Wanderlust festival, and they were giving away like free samples of the celery juice. And I took a slug of that celery juice, and it made all the hairs on my body stand up. I was just like, and then they started talking to me about all the nourishing aspects of celery juice, certainly starting your day with celery juice, and the detoxing abilities that it has, and the nourishing aspects, and the memory, you know, like all this list of all these amazing bullet points that celery juice does. And I was like, well, let me try it again. I didn't end up trying that brand again. You know, I just started juicing celery stalks in the morning. And now I love celery. Now I'm becoming attached to the thing that I once had an aversion to. So when I don't have celery, then maybe I'll have pain according to that. So we need to try things, and this also helps us overcome our fear. The more you get close to something that bothers you or irritates you or scares you, the less power and control it has over you. So that's how we like flip that script. And number 5, the 5th klesha, fear of death. When we go back to ultimately asking, what am I afraid of? It ultimately rolls all the way back to fear of death, because that's the end of the story. All these other things that are happening in our life, they're actually temporary pain. But our fear of death, will I die alone? How will I die? What will those final years look like? What will my legacy be? What imprint will I make upon this existence? When I die, will the memory of me just vanish into the ether? If we think about the number 1 fear on the planet is fear of loud noises. And that probably is because we feel, that loud noise, a tree could fall on me or something could kill me. But the second most largest fear on the planet is fear of public speaking. So when we think like, why am I afraid to speak in public or speak to large groups or speak to anyone other than my closest friends? And suddenly we realize, I'm afraid of being humiliated. I'm afraid I'll be embarrassed. Take that deeper. Well, if I'm afraid of being embarrassed, I'm afraid that people will make fun of me. Okay, could we take that deeper? Well, if I'm afraid that people will make fun of me, I'm afraid that they'll sort of like alienate me or shun me. Could we take that deeper? Well, if I'm afraid that I'll be alienated, I'm fearing I'll be alone. Could we take that deeper? Well, I'm fearing I'll be alone, and then I'm fearing I'll die alone. almost every fear, if we chunk it down through all the stages, ultimately ends up as fear of death. We fear that this thing, this flesh casing that we're sealed in for the span of a lifetime, will just drop. We'll take our last breath, and all this will be gone. All this connection, all this beauty, all this magnificence will be gone. So how do we overcome that? We celebrate the present moment. We move from grieving our potential loss of ourselves and move towards gratitude. And I believe if you wake up every single morning, and I do this every single morning as part of my meditation practice, if you wake up every morning and just start making a list of all the things you're grateful for right now. Let's try it right now. We'll just take a few seconds here. Just name the top 5 things you're grateful for right now in this moment. You can't be in grievance mode when you're in gratitude mode. You can't be in fear mode when you're in gratitude mode. How powerful is that? How amazing is that? So if we flip the script on our ego, thinking we're separate from everything, and realizing, Aham Brahmasmi, baby, I am the universe. If we can flip the script on permanence and impermanence, realizing there's something inside of me. The Bhagavad Gita says, water cannot wet it, nor wind dry it. Weapons cannot cleave it. And they're talking about our soul. We're talking about this divine spirit that's flowing through us right now. So if we can remind ourselves of the connection we have, and it's not really, here's me and here's divine spirit, it's the true fusion of them, realizing I am spirit, I am divine. Then that script gets flipped on that. If we can realize when we're being attached to things and go like, I'm so attached to that, that's just crazy. Let me try to wean myself off of it. And we can do this by weaning ourselves off our devices a little bit, our favorite junk foods that are non-nourishing to us, our favorite habits or activities or behaviors that don't really serve us. Maybe some words that you're using right now that you use habitually, you could probably trade those in for some more impeccable words. And then the things that we have aversions to, that we're always pushing ourselves away from or cutting ourselves off from. Maybe we could just not be so righteous about all the things out there that other people are doing or other people are. And maybe we could just show a little more love or appreciation for differing viewpoints, for that multi-dimensional diversity of this magnificent planet that we're on. And when we get down to fear of death, next time you're afraid of anything, next time you're worried about something, just stop, close your eyes, and ask yourself, what am I grateful for? 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 And just let the answers flow. And like that, these are ancient teachings too. These go back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And we can shift ourselves from suffering to suffering just a little bit less. And that's where our happiness grows from. That's how we shift out of depression, out of sadness. And I'm not saying you shouldn't respond to the true, authentic rumblings of your heart when they bring you down or when they take you into dark places. But as I've said before, everyone needs to visit the land of hurts and wounds once in a while, but nobody needs to live there. Rent, don't buy when it comes to hurts and pains. But in the meantime, keep meditating. Hopefully you found value in these 5 ways to eliminate suffering in your life. And if you did, please like this video and don't forget to subscribe, share it with other people, and reach out to me. I'm at info@davidji.com, and I'd love to hear what you're doing in your life to relieve your suffering. From the sweet spot of the universe, namaste, and I'll see you in the gap.